So, you're diving into Amazon Web Services, and you keep viewing these three letters: IAM, VPC, and EC2. Well, in the next few minutes, we are going to break down exactly what these are and why they are, without a doubt, the absolute building blocks for pretty much everything you'll do in the cloud.
You've decided to build something in the cloud. That's awesome. But let's be real, where do you even begin? It can feel kind of overwhelming, right? Almost like you're just staring at a huge empty plot of land with no instructions.
You know, the easiest way to get a handle on all this stuff is with a simple analogy. So, for this explainer, let's just imagine that we are constructing a brand new, secure, modern office building completely from scratch.
And here's our construction plan. First, we gotta secure the front door. That's gonna be IM. Then we'll mark out our own private piece of land with VPC. After that, we'll start putting in the actual offices, our virtual servers, which is EC2. And most importantly, we'll see how all these pieces fit together perfectly.
All right, first things first. With any building project, what's rule number one? Security. Always. You wouldn't build the walls before to know who gets the keys, right? Well, in the cloud, that's IAM. So what exactly is IAM? It stands for Identity and Access Management, and it's basically the head of security for your entire AWS account. It's all about answering three really simple but crucial questions. Who, like a developer or maybe an application, is allowed to do what, like, say, read a file, to which specific resource? It is all about that fine-grained control. And this is where our building analogy really starts to click. Think of IAM as the security desk in the lobby. It gives out permanent key cards, those are users, to your employees, and it also hands out temporary passes, we call those roles, to services that just need to talk to each other for a little while. The whole point, the big idea here, is something called least privilege access. Basically, you give everyone and everything the absolute bare minimum permissions they need to do their job and not a single bit more. It's a simple idea, but it is the cornerstone of cloud security.
Okay, so our security policies are in place. Now it's time to actually pour the foundation. We need our own private, totally secure space in the huge world of the AWS cloud. And that, my friends, is your VPC, your virtual private cloud. So a VPC is your very own logically isolated piece of the AWS cloud. Seriously, it's like putting up a giant digital fence around your plot of land. And inside that fence, you make the rules. You control exactly who and what gets to come in or go out. So if your VPC is the plot of land and the main walls, you can then build subnets inside. Just think of these like different floors or wings in your building. Maybe you have a public-facing lobby on the first floor, but all the super secret R&D labs are on another, private floor. You then use security groups, which are basically little firewalls, to control who can go from one floor to the next. The key here is total network isolation, with a design that you, and only you, control.
We've got security, we've got our private plot of land. Now we just need a place to actually get some work done. And that brings us to the workhorse of AWS, EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, and what it does is provide resizable virtual servers. In our analogy, these are the actual office units, the workstations inside your building. Your website, your code, your applications, all the real work happens right here. And the flexibility here is just incredible. First, you get to choose an Amazon Machine Image, or AMI. That's kind of like the office layout. Are you going to fill it with Windows computers or Linux machines? Then you pick an instance type, which is like the size of the office itself. Do you need a small cubicle for a tiny task, or do you need a massive open plan floor for some heavy-duty number crunching? It's all about getting the exact amount of computing power you need whenever you need it.
So we've looked at all the individual pieces, but the real magic, that real aha moment, comes when you see how they all lock together so perfectly. So let's pull back and look at the whole blueprint.
This flow is exactly how you'd start building for real in AWS. Step 1, you secure the front door with your IAM permissions. Step 2, you prepare the land by creating your VPC, and then you build your office, the EC2 instance, inside of it. And finally, step 3 is all about managing that office, using that secure IAM identity you created to get in. See, each step just builds right on top of the last one. So the most important thing to remember is this. Each one of these services has its own critical job. Security with IAM is the absolute foundation. You start there. Networking with VPC gives you the secure, controlled space. And finally, compute with EC2 delivers the raw power to run your applications inside that safe space. So let's lock this in one last time. From now on, when you think of these services, just picture that office building. IAM, that's your security desk and keycards. VPC, that's your private land and the strong walls around it. And EC2, those are the rental office units inside, where all the magic happens. And that's really it. You now have the foundational blueprint for building almost anything you can imagine in AWS. So the only real question left is, now that you've got the foundation poured, what are you going to build next?